Look at all that power. I think it's about time we actually used it. Last time on Perfect World post-production, we stole some villagers, built a library and an enchanting setup, and routed power from the offshore wind farm back to the mainland. Since then, I've been re-rolling my librarians, and we've actually finally got some good trades on them. Oh, above the clouds. That one's fantastic. And I've actually already put it on my brass jetpack. Now, usually with a jetpack, you can fly to a maximum height of 28 blocks, but with above the clouds, my height limit has been reduced, so I can go up as high as I like. But for reasons we're about to get into, that is actually the only enchant I've put on any of my gear so far, and it is all still just on the verge of breaking. I think we're going to make some new ones before we enchant anything, but I can't really upgrade my gear just yet. We're still missing one vital component despite the librarians, the enchanting table, the lapis, and everything else, and that is a way to get levels. We do currently have 30 levels, so we can do one good enchant, so I could really do with an XP farm of some sort. We've also still got a couple of empty seats over here in the library, so I could do with a proper villager breeder, but I'm not really feeling that today, at least not yet. Like I said right at the start, I want to use some power. So what I actually want to do is to build a starter workshop and try and get some more of this dock front built out probably. But I'm thinking a great big building over here with lots of useful machines in it that are going to help me process things so I don't have to run all the way over the island, and so I can do less things by hand. And if we have time at the end of the episode, we'll look at making a villager breeder and an XP farm, but I imagine that'll probably be something we do on the next episode. Before any of that though, we do have 30 levels, and something I would really like is feather falling on my boots. I'm sick and tired of dying to full damage. It's happened a lot of times so far in this world, and I've not even put all of them into the video. I don't know how many times I've died. 12. I've died 12 times, and I would imagine at least 9 or 10 of those have been to full damage. So let's grab some lapis and some diamonds. We're gonna make ourselves a new pair of boots, but we've only got 30 levels, which means we've only got one shot at this, so the chances of us actually getting what we want are pretty slim. But let's have a look. Depth Strider 3. And no feather falling. Fire protection. Oh, we don't want fire protection. Well, I guess we're just going to have to try and be a little bit more careful for a while. Now, this workshop, what do we want to do here? So I think we should probably start by building out the seafront bits, and I think I'm going to have a set of stairs that goes down here to a sort of lower dock, and I want to have something that kind of wraps around, somewhere where boats can pull in, but I do want this bit here sticking out. Maybe not quite as much as it does, so I might shave off a couple of layers here, but if we have a little wraparound dock down the bottom there, my thinking is we can put in an underground floor on the workshop as well, because that will give us more space without having a building that looks way too big for this area compared to the others. So I guess we've got a bit of prep work to do around here before we do anything else. So let's start by just grabbing a bunch of stuff and building up the boardwalk. And there we go. I think that's a good start. We've got these dock areas, meaning we can attach some boats and things out the front here. I do actually have an idea of what I want to do with this area down here, and it should be pretty cool. But more importantly, we now have an area to build our workshop. So now I need to decide what I want to build the workshop out of and gather some resources and things. So I think I want to use a combination of brick, sand, and acacia for this build, but we don't have a lot of bricks going on here at the moment. However, this down here has been producing clay balls for us. Look at that, we've got 6,000 of them. So let's get all of this clay cooked up. We'll make some bricks, and then we'll work out how big we're going to make this building. So we've got our bricks, but just before we actually lay out the build, let's grab a little bit of acacia. And if we put this acacia into a carpenter's table, we actually have a very cool wood type, which is this, which I think looks quite metallic. So we'll grab some of that as well. Right, let's figure out what we're going to do over here. I think the first thing I want to do is actually have a path that kind of runs between this build and where our workshop's going to be. Maybe something like that. I should probably sleep, it's getting dark. And then the building will go in maybe along here somewhere. Something about that size should do it, but I do actually want this building to sort of stretch over and go over the dock here. So let's remove some of this and let's grab some girders. Then we'll stretch that out as far as these poles, I think, because then we can use those as stands that hold up the building. Yeah, that should work nicely. And then we'll just fill in the rest of this floor here. Awesome. I think that could work quite well, because that way this walkway can go right through the whole building. We can just have, I'm thinking maybe our workshop table type things over here. So all of the chipped things. And then if we cut in a doorway here, this will be the entrance to our main workshop. I think this could work quite nicely. So let's get this floor sorted, build up some walls, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do on the upper levels. Well, progress is being made. We have a chunk of building. And you may have noticed during the time-lapse, I also dug out the basement. I figured just to get straight on with that. And then this goes onto the lower dock, which I think works quite nicely, although I do need to tidy up the doorway a bit. So we've got lots of space down here. We've got a bunch of space on this floor, as well as the bit I want to put all the tables in. And then it opens out even larger on this floor, thanks to the overhang we've got down by the dock. But I think that's looking pretty good so far. We just need to figure out what to do with the upper levels now. Now, the first thing I think I want to do at the top here is to bring in some sandstone. I'm thinking maybe if we just have this top level go right across here. So that will be our sandstone block. And I think I want to have a small sort of lean-to type building out the front here, maybe with some moss. Should we leave space? In fact, what we could do is have like a little balcony type area, stick a door in. Then we can have another sort of mossy outside bit because they look quite nice here. And I guess that means we also won't need this internal bit of the wall there. Yeah, that should work quite nicely. We've still got lots of interior space. We're going to mix in some different types of sandstone and some birch and that over here as well. That should work well. And then we may even have a third level on top, just a small part maybe. I don't know. Let's jump back into time-lapse mode and see what happens. Well, as you can see, I did go with a third level in the end, and I'm loving how this looks. The solar panel looks awesome as well. You can see that one a bit more than you can these ones from down the front. But the building as a whole, I'm quite liking the layout. As I say, we've got this sort of walk through here. That means you can carry on along the boardwalk. You can get down to the lower level. We've got space here for lots of workshop tables, and then we've got our floors. So we do have the basement down below, we've got the main floor here, then we've got the second story, and we've got the third floor up here as well. So lots of space to be working with, which is awesome. But in order to jam this full of machines and things, I'm going to need lots of create components, and I think we're running a little bit low. Let's go see what we've got. Yeah, not a lot. So what I want to do, I think, is make a whole bunch of andesite alloy. And in fact, what I need to do first is empty my inventory. I've got way too much rubbish in here. And my backpack is absolutely rammed as well. All right, there we go. We've got a bit of space now. And this is going to take forever if we do it at the mixer we've already got. So I think what I might do is actually put in a mixer over here as our first machine. And then that's going to make making the rest of the machines a whole lot quicker. So I guess the first thing I'm actually going to need is power. And that is in the building next door. So that should be fairly straightforward. Let me have a little look. There should be some spinning things near the top here somewhere. Aha, right. So let's steal some power from here. So if we bring it into this building over here, then what we can do is just get these connected up. That should do the trick. It looks a bit messy. We can probably tidy that up by putting some different casings on it. But for now, at least we've got power. And what we're going to do is send this power downstairs. And I think in order to make my life a bit easier, what I might actually do is put in lots of encased chain drives all around the bottom of the floor here. So for example, if I put that one in there and then just line these across, it's going to be a little bit trickier on the ends here. Let's try something like that. Yeah, there we go. We'll do the same thing on this side. And then as we're building machines, whenever we need power, we can just rotate these round. So that should be very handy indeed. And in fact, I might actually do this on the rest of the floors as well. All right, there we go. We've now got power on every floor. Wonderful stuff. Now, let's build our first machine. And I think I'm just going to jam it in this corner here. So I'm going to need a basin, a mixer, some cogs, and some belts. So I've got everything we should need, but I've been thinking, and I might actually use this area for the bulk processing of things like cooking and smelting and so on. And maybe we should build the mixer down here. Let's jump in this corner here, I reckon. And this thing shouldn't take up too much space. So let's grab our mechanical mixer. Stick that there. And to get this powered, we can just spin one of these. Stick in a cogwheel, very handy. Should keep things nice and tidy as well. Then if we would stick a barrel there and there, belt there and a belt there, then we're going to need some funnels, just like that. So anything we put in this barrel and this barrel is going to go into the mixer in the middle. This is going to need to empty somewhere, so how about we stick a little chest in the floor? Something like that. Now, these belts are going to need power, so I'm actually going to have to adjust this bit up the top here just a little bit, because we span around the one that was actually connecting to the gearbox. So let's just move the gearbox down a notch. There we go, and that should keep the power flowing. And now we can just bring that down. So that's the first belt going, and the other belt here. What direction is this going to go in? The wrong one. Not to worry, we can just jam in a vertical gearbox there. Maybe get some of this back bit blocked in. We don't want that sticking out. And I want to have kind of like dividers or separators between my different machines. So maybe something like this. Let's get some casings on these to make them look a bit better. And if we go use our stone cutter, I should be able to make some scaffolding. There we go. So we can do that and that. We can have a little barrel here just to store some coal in so that if we need to do anything heated, we can. But I think that should pretty much do what we want. So if I load up this barrel with the andesite, this barrel with nuggets, then look at that, we're getting andesite alloy nice and quickly as well. Excellent stuff. Then that's going to help us make all the things we need to sort out the rest of this build. Our first machine is in. Before I go any further though, I think what I want to do is actually work out exactly what machines we want in here. And then from there, we can try and work out a layout. Right, so what do we want? So we want a smelter, haunter, smoker, and washer. We want a wood stripper that can also be used to make casings. We want a copper oxidizer and waxer. We want a double set of crushing wheels. We want a mechanical press that does lots at once. We need a water mixer so we can turn dirt into mud and things like that. We are, of course, going to need a mechanical crafter. We want to be able to make train plates and casings. We want to be able to make rails, so we'll have a rail maker in there. We're going to want to be able to make precision mechanisms because they are a pain. And a machine that makes electron tubes would be nice as well. So that's 11 machines, some of them taking up a lot more space than others. But I reckon we can probably get those jammed in. But I think if our workshop's going to be over there and our storage is going to be over here, we need to make a couple of adjustments. It might actually be really handy to have one of these sort of Pigo type guys in my workshop that delivers and receives from the same system. I wonder, how could we do that without packages flying around everywhere? I mean, we could do it underground, I suppose. So somewhere down here, we could put him like under the stairs maybe, or in fact, this wall here might work quite well because we could just dig out a little bit of this, have a counter here, and then have that go underground and connect to the other bits. I think if we just jump through into free cam, I mean, we're gonna have to go over this way a little bit, but I reckon we can make it work. We're just gonna connect on underneath here. So let's quickly get that done because that's gonna make things a bit easier as we're making all the components we're gonna need for the machines. And then we can finally crack on with a bit more of the workshop interior here and get lots and lots of machines in. Well, I really didn't need to decorate this tunnel, but I'm glad I did. It definitely looks a little bit better. Not that we're ever going to see it again, but we now have it all set up. So anything we drop off down at that end will now come along this belt here as a package. Then it will get unpackaged here, sent into the chute, and go up to storage. And anything that gets routed down these tubes here will once again be a package. It will go this way, and it'll go all the way down these tunnels, go into this packager, and get unpackaged into this barrel here. So the barrels are in the same location that we have at the other end, just so I don't confuse myself. But before we can use this, we need a couple more things. We need a clerk, and we need to actually make sure we're directing the packages where they need to go. And to do that, we're going to need some package filters. Some of these, what do we need? Wool and zinc. Well, that's nice and easy. So we need 2 of those. And then what we're going to do is this pig here, we're going to make sure that he always sends to Pigo. So that means anything I order will have the package address Pigo written on it. Then if I set this package filter to Pigo and put that on the front of there, then any packages coming down this tube that have Pigo written on them, so basically anything we order from this guy, such as a golden sheet, will now come out of this package filter here and go to this box. Now the other one we're going to call workshop, and we're going to put that on this smart chute down below. So anything we order to the workshop will actually continue on. It will skip this one here and then go all the way over to where we're building. Let's just get that floor back in. And I need to get myself a clerk. And I think I'm just going to steal one of the sheep from down here for now. That's weird. Where's my lead gone? Did it get picked up by this somehow? It did. What in the world? Right, where's my sheep gone? Oh, geez, no, don't get yourself killed in the farm. Come on. Follow me, sir. We've got a job for you. Don't walk into the crushing wheels. Oh, my days. This sheep is not the brightest. I think we're going to have to watch him the whole way so he doesn't lose himself again. Yep, this way. Come on. We're going to go hang out on the boardwalk. Oh, we're getting there. I must have lit this place up okay because there's no mobs around, which is nice considering it's the middle of the night. Oh, there we go. Well, that was a bit of an effort. And he's forever going to be cold because there's no grass here for him to eat, so I feel a little bit bad about that. So we'll do a little test. We'll fill in workshop here. We'll ask for a grass block. And obviously it's not going to be as quick as the other one because it's got to travel all the way from over there. But here it comes. Excellent. The system works. We'll just give him a little grass block, and once he eats that, hopefully he'll have some wool. But I don't know if that's in the right place. We'll come back and check that later. For now, we've got some crafting to do because I want to start putting in the rest of these machines. And because it's probably going to be handy, I think what we're going to do is come up here and we're going to build the Haunter Washer Smelter thingy. Got my clipboard somewhere. Where is it? Yep, this one. The Smelter Haunter Smoker Washer. So I'm going to need in-case chain drives, fans, chutes, and a few other bits and bobs. So I think I've got everything I need to make this, and we're going to keep things quite simple because I want to make this as compact as possible. So where's my wrench? So we'll start with those four, and the question is it spinning in the right direction? No, it is not. So let's jam a gearbox in there, and now that should blow me all the way across. Excellent. So we'll have the fans in there, and then to keep this nice and compact, what we're going to do is remove those four. We're going to get some those in there. In fact, I'm going to make these double chests. Then we're going to put smart chutes on top, and we're going to put filters on these to make sure that things cook before they drop through. And then to ensure we don't get blown all over the place, let's put some glass in there. So now we can actually stand here. Wonderful. And I guess we can just fill in the rest of this bit of the wall, and then we'll have a row of chutes across here with some more chests on top. And we'll get this side blocked in as well. In fact, I might block in the whole of this top bit, just so we don't leave spaces for mobs to spawn. That's not going to be good. So now we need to load up the different things. So we'll have a cooker, and then we'll have a washer. I need to make myself a soul campfire. We'll stick that one in there. And lastly, we need lava. But lava is going to run everywhere. So if we put a copycat panel there, that should stop the lava from flowing. Wonderful. Let's just block in the rest of that. And I guess at the top here, we can use some stairs. We'll use the center cut spruce log from Chips because it looks nice. I think if we put a couple of little beams up here. Yeah, these need a shelf or something though, don't they? How about a couple of slabs and a couple of trapdoors? We'll use placards at the top to show what each one's going to do, which means I need more water and lava and campfires and things. Let's quickly grab those. So then we can label these. Wonderful. And the last thing we need is some filters down here. And we need to use smart filters here, or attribute filters, I should say. Okay, so we've got 4 attribute filters. So we're going to drag sand over here as a reference, and we have can be washed, add that, and then turn that into a deny list. So now if anything can be washed, it won't go through the chute, and then as soon as it has been washed, it'll drop down. And we're just going to do this for all the different filters. The only thing we will have a problem with is turning cobble into stone, because cobble can be smelted, but then so can stone, so the result's not actually going to go through. But apart from that, this machine should be good for everything. So can be haunted, and can be smoked. All right, there we go. That's another machine in. That's that one done. And we've got quite a small space here. What can we fit in there? Maybe just the water mixer, which is what's going to make dirt for us. That should be able to fit in here, I reckon. So we've got almost everything we need. I just need a few more belts, but luckily we've got this machine set up, so that should be nice and easy. There we go. There's our kelp. And there's our belts. Now, we've only got a little bit of space here, so we're going to have to be clever with how we fit everything in, because I don't want to come any further forward than here. So this kind of marks the boundary, basically, which means we're probably going to lose all that space there as well. So let's stick a chest there and a chest there. And I'll need some andesite funnels. So we can have an andesite funnel there, a brass funnel there. And we're going to need a couple of belts. We're going to need pipes, which means we're going to need water, probably down the back here, I reckon. That could work. They're going to pump into a basin, which is going to grab things from there and dump them out over here. Okay, that should work. Let's just get things powered. So can I get away with sticking that in there? Nope, that's going the wrong way. Of course it is. And that would actually mess up everything downstairs if we did it that way. So how about we put in 2 vertical gearboxes? So that means everything down there is still going to keep spinning the right way. We'll put that belt back in and we'll see if we can actually steal the power from over here, maybe. There isn't actually any power over there, is there? Right, well, let me get the pump going first. Then we need a mixer in there as well, of course, which we can just bring over from there. Now we just need to power this belt. So maybe if I grab the power from there in that direction and there. Nope, still going the wrong way. Aha, there we go. Just a little gearbox down the bottom there. And if we stick another gearbox in there, that's going to get that belt going. All right, I think that's everything. So let's just block up this hole at the back here. Get a bracket on there to make it look nicer. To be honest, I'm not a fan of the way these cogs are looking. So how about we go out the back of the mixer instead and steal it from up here. Yeah, there we go. That looks much tidier. Chuck a girder in there to hold the mixer. Wonderful. So now we can chuck dirt and things in there. They'll get mixed up with water, turned into mud. Then I just need another mixer to fill in that placard. But I don't have enough iron sheets to make another mixer, so let's grab some of those and get them crushed down. Then we can make a whisk and a mixer. And there we go. That's another machine done. Now, next up, I think I want to do the wood stripper and casings, and this looks like a good spot for that. We should be able to fit it in, I reckon. But it's probably going to need to go round the corner, because it will need a reasonable amount of space. So let's maybe just block off a little bit here and get planning. So we're going to need a belt to take things out of a storage module. Then that's going to go into a saw. Then we'll have that go onto another belt. And we want them to be able to get stored in a barrel. And then we want the option to be able to turn them into encased logs. So basically we can use this as a log stripper, or we can continue the whole thing and actually get them encased as well. That's my current thinking. So I'm going to need a mechanical saw, and we're also going to need deployers. So let's start with some chutes and maybe a chest. Then to power these bits, we should probably do something like that. We can still power from up here. In fact, there's no need. I can still power just from down here. It's very handy having all of this building pre-rigged, and that's going the right way. Excellent. Now, we're just going to extend the power out this way. I think that's going to make my life a little bit easier. And if we put one of these in there, yep, that is going the right way, which means with the 2 cogwheels, our saw should be going the right way as well. Let's just quickly check that. Yep, wonderful. So let's just tidy this up a little bit. So we probably want another chest here. In fact, let's make that a double chest. Then we need an input funnel and an output funnel. Let's make those bigger just because they look nicer. Then we need a lever here so that we can turn that on and off. So basically, if this is turned on, that means we're just going to get stripped wood. If it's turned off, then the things are going to carry on. They're going to hit a deployer and then go into another chest over here. So let's just block that in. Fill out the back here as well, because once again, we don't need all this extra space here. Oh, well, that was not ideal. And with a few more finishing touches, I think we're done over here. So we can load up wood on this side. That will get sawed down, turned into stripped logs. If this is open, we can also load this barrel here with alloy. So, for example, andesite alloy. Stick some logs in there. Oh, no, I haven't powered the deployer. So let's chuck those spruce logs back in there, and yep, there we go. Now we're getting casings. So let's stick a placard up there and stick a casing on it so we know what the machine actually does. And that's another machine done. We're making some progress. And to be honest, I don't think we're going to fit anything else on this floor, are we? Let's go jam some stuff in the basement. An old sheepy here still hasn't eaten this grass, so I think it's safe to say he's probably not going to. So let's just rebuild your little desk there, buddy. Right, so let's tidy this up a little bit. We've created a bit of a mess here now. So we'll use some copycat boards to cover up the bottom of those. I've run out of spruce planks. In fact, what I might actually do is match what we've got upstairs and bring this forward by a block. Then do that. Stick a placard on there. We're going to want another mixer, so let's do that again. There we go. Stick that up there. Right, so we've got quite a big space here. Maybe we could put the copper oxidizer in here. That could be the best thing. So this one's going to need 3 sort of areas it goes through and 3 input points so we can judge the level. It's also going to need a waxer. Ooh, do we reckon we can fit that in down here? We can always give it a go. Let's try working backwards. So we'll go from the waxer side round to the triple oxidizer. So we'll stick a belt in there. We'll have a chest at the end. So this is where all the end result will go. And then we'll have a spout there. Means we need more of these. We're going to need a deployer here. So that's where we need to put the block of wax. Problem is, we don't have any wax yet, so we're actually going to have to go on a little adventure to go get some. But for now, let's just carry on building this out. So we're going to want another spout here with another barrel. And the reason I'm putting barrels in between each spout is so that if we just want a certain level, for example, just oxidizing copper by 1 level, we can put the things in here, by 2 levels here, and by 3 levels, we'd want to put them in over here. And then they'll get waxed at the end. So I'm thinking we'll put the water at the back down here. Then we can have pipes just running across like this. And we'll just connect that up there. Actually, to make things a bit easier, if we put the power in there, just have this pipe running around the outside. Then we can put a cog in there. So that's going to do the pump. So we'll create infinite water here. Turn the pump round. Wonderful. Oh, bit of a mess, but nothing to worry about. Alrighty, now we just need to get power to these. So a gearbox in there. And if we sneak around the back here, we can also chuck a gearbox in down here. And then can I still power from here? Looks like it. And the belts are all going the right way. Wonderful. So we just need a couple of encased chain drives in here. That powers the deployer. Excellent. We just need to get a block of honeycomb now. That was a nice, easy one. Now we just need to make it look nice. So let's get one of those in. I think I'm going to make these bigger again just because they do look a bit better when they're like that. And we've got some of these bridge lanterns, which you just make by putting 2 lanterns side by side, but they actually sit on the edge of blocks, which means we can actually use them as little hanging lights on the pillars here. So that will solve the lighting problem down here. Right, let's go get some honeycomb. So I'm going to need shears and a campfire. I mean, I don't need the campfire, but we might as well play it safe. No need to upset the bees. So let's see if we can spot a nest anywhere. We've got lots of birch trees around here, so I'm hoping we'll see some bee nests. I see bees. There's got to be a nest around here somewhere. There it is. Oh, but it doesn't have any honey. Wonder if there's any closer to my base that would probably have had bees going around and actually collecting honey, because I don't want to have to wait forever. It doesn't appear there's any nests on my island anywhere. So I guess we're just going to have to go back over there and wait for those bees to do their thing. Let's make their lives as easy as possible, though, and put some flowers down right outside their home. In fact, let's lure them back in this direction first as well. And you little fella, come on. Right, they're doing their bee thing. I'm just going to go hang out in this hut for a little while, I guess. Ooh, shinies. Must have missed this one on the way through initially. Well, so far I've got 3 pieces of honeycomb. There's 4 honey out of 5 in the bee nest. If we look at the top there, there's 2 bees in there that are refusing to come out and get more flowers. I just need 1 more little piece of honeycomb. Oh, thank you very much. I'd say that worked out quite well. So if we turn that into a honeycomb block, put it in this guy, that will last forever and it will continually wax stuff. So if we chuck a bunch of copper in there, they're going to get oxidized 1 step, then 2 steps, then 3 steps, then waxed. And look at that, wax oxidized copper. Nice and easy. That is another machine done. Now, before we go any further, I think what I should probably do is find somewhere for the mechanical crafter, because it's going to need a 5x5 wall, and most of my walls are only 4 high. But this floor here does have a little bit where it is 5 high. So I can just about squeeze one in here, and then that will leave all this space for machines. So I think that's the way to go with this. Now, I don't know where I want this to eject yet. I don't know how the other machines are going to fit up here, so we'll come back to this in a moment. For now, I'm thinking this space over here could actually work well for the press, because it's not a big machine and we should be able to get 3 or 4 presses in here. So let's go make some presses, I guess. And I think for this one, we're also going to need some brass tunnels, which means, oh no, we don't have enough electron tubes again. Fine, let's do some sanding. So for this one, it's all going to be about clever layout of the belts. So if we do something like this, so we have a belt that goes that way, and a collection belt. And I'm hoping what we can do is grab some tunnels with these extra belts here and do that. So anything coming this way will get fed into the tunnels. It will get split between all 4 here, go onto this belt, which will then go into a collection chest. Although, I think I want to make those double chests again. Means we're going to need collection funnels there and there. We're going to need a funnel there to get everything out. We need to make the mechanical presses, so we need iron blocks for those. We'll just put those in there. And that should be just about it, really. Quite a basic one. We just need to power it now. So let's maybe cut a little channel out here. And then that powers that belt. But that's going the wrong way. So let's get smart about this. If we go like that and that, I guess that belt going the right way. And that should get all of those going. Excellent. Now we just need to power the presses, and we can just do something like that. Doesn't look very good though. Let's see if we can make that look nicer. So if we block in this bit here, put a couple of pointless shafts in, some brackets. Yeah, that's not looking too bad. Just need a placard with a press in it. And if we were to chuck, oh, we can't open these boxes. And that'll be because of these blocks I've put here. Maybe let's use girders instead. Yeah, there we go. And if we chuck in a bunch of iron, look at that, we're getting plates so quickly. Oh, that's amazing. No more using that thing up on the hill over there. That took less than 10 seconds to do a stack. Wonderful. So next up, let's do the double crushing wheels, and that should fit in nicely along here. I don't know quite how long this is going to need to be, so let's get some chests and work it out. So if we had a chest there, then we could have crushing wheels there, then a collection chest. But sometimes we want to double crush stuff, so let's get those funnels on. Have another funnel there, which means we will need another crushing wheel there, with another chest on the end, and then let's make that look a bit nicer. And then we can probably just kind of block all of this bit out. I don't think we really need that space there, but we'll make sure it's lit up so we don't get any random mobs. We'll just tidy this up a little bit. Now we do of course need crushing wheels for this setup, which means we need to get this thing spinning and work out where it's going to drop things off. I'd imagine around here could be good. And if we get power from here with a cog in there, that's going to power all of this. But I need more sandstone so we can block all of this out and make this bit here look good as well. But we're making some good progress here. And a few minutes later, we've got the walls filled in. Things are looking much better around here. We've even managed to make our crushing wheels. So what I did over here, we removed that, is we're just feeding the finished results into a hopper, and then that hopper pushes them into these drawers. So that works nicely. But with this crushing setup, it means I can either put things in here and have them crushed down once, or in here and double crush them, which isn't needed often. But if, for example, I wanted lots of sand, I could put cobble in the start, and then that will get crushed into gravel, then into sand. But we're making some very good progress on our machine lists. Next up, though, I think I want to make the precision mechanisms. We've got space in the middle here. I reckon we might just be able to squeeze it in. So we'll start off with a belt there, and we're going to want a double chest at each side. In fact, I've made this belt a little bit too long because we only need 3 spots in the middle. So we need 3 deployers. We've only got 2. Right, let's quickly go make another one. Right, there we go. We're going to need to be able to feed these things with cogs and iron nuggets and things like that. So let's get more chests on top. Then we're going to need funnels. And we're going to need filters. So if it's a gold plate, then let it through. And we also need an incomplete precision mechanism. In fact, we're probably going to be better off using a list filter. So let's quickly make a couple of those. So if we make a deny list for the precision mechanism and put that on this one here. And then I need to grab a few things because I need to make an incomplete precision mechanism before I can do anything else. So let's just get these deployers loaded up. We want small cogs, large cogs, iron nuggets, and we're going to need to get power over here as well. So I'm thinking we just do that, stick in a gearbox, then the belt is going the wrong way. So instead, we'll do this. We'll stick in some shafts, some case chain drives. It's still going the wrong way, but if we jam in a gearbox, there we go. Then we'll just hide that. But we still need to get power into these, and I can't really get it up the side here, so I think we're going to have to go across the top. So we could do something like this. And for my own safety, I'm going to remove these crushing wheels temporarily, because I think we're going to need to go in here. and then steal the power from there. Let's get those crushing wheels back in, and then we can just block in the rest of this. All right, so that should make precision mechanisms. What I want to do is just reverse that temporarily. We're going to get a part-made precision mechanism. I can't open that chest right now, so let me rejig this just a little bit. And there we go. Now I can open the chest. We'll just cover up this side with some copycat boards. Wonderful. Right, so let's grab that precision mechanism, put that into the list filter as well. And now they're the only things that should be able to come out of this bit. So now if I put that precision mechanism and the gold sheets in there, this should just keep going round and round and round until it makes what we want, or runs out of things up here. And then all the precision mechanisms that work will go here. All the failed ones will just leave bits in here. But that is our precision mechanism machine done. All right, nice. Another machine done. Now, what have we got left? Train plates and casings, a rail maker, and electron tubes. But we're definitely not getting anything else on that floor. This floor, probably not getting anything on here either. But we do have some space down here in the basement. So maybe we should try and get the train things in here. We should be able to get both down here, I reckon. But as usual, I'm going to need to make some things before we can do this. So for the sturdy sheep machine, we're going to need lava. So I'm thinking maybe a tank that we sort of go fill up and bring back and put back here. So we'll just have a cart contraption down here with a lever. Then we're going to need to pump that out into a spout. So we only need a small belt here, I think, because as well as the spout, we just need 2 mechanical presses. Then we'll have a barrel on each end. And I think that's about it, really. We just need power. So powering the presses should be fairly easy. We can just do that. Then if we put another one of those in there, with a gearbox and a shaft, that is going the wrong way. How about that? There we go. Then lastly, we need to power this pump as well. So if we stick in a vertical gearbox there and rotate that a little bit, there we go. Then we can just stick cogs there and there, make it look nice. Then we just need a couple of placards. Oh, lightning just struck one of my lightning rods somewhere. But if it is a thunderstorm, I should probably sleep. Right, so I've got a problem. I've run out of zinc, and I need more copycat steps. So what we're going to do is quickly run around some caves and hopefully find some more. In fact, I'll probably take some torches as well. There we go. There's some. Oh, 1 piece. 1 piece. That is no good. Need much more than that. Oh, there we go. Ooh, diamonds. Don't mind if I do. Not too shabby. We got just over a stack. And 26 diamonds in the end. Wonderful. All right, there we go. We can finish off that bit now. And that's for the powdered obsidian. And the result is sturdy sheets. Although, this one should probably be up the top here like all the rest. Now, next up, we want a track machine. And this should be very simple. First up, I'm going to need a couple of deployers. Right, so for this one, we just want 2 barrels with a belt running behind them. 2 deployers and a press. Then we just need power, but we should be able to grab that from right here. It's just going to take a few encased chain drives. There we go. That's all of that powered. And we just need a couple more barrels at the top here. We'll block off that last bit. Then stone slabs would go in that barrel. Iron nuggets go in these ones. So if we chuck those in there, although it would help if I actually put the funnels on the back and faced it the right way. And there we go. We're now making train track. Just need a bit of light. But that is 2 more things ticked off the list. The last thing we need is an electron tube machine, but I don't really know where we're going to put that. Got no space in the basement, no space here, no space on this floor, although plenty of space on this floor. Now, for the electron tubes, it's going to be a bit different because we need mechanical crafters. And I'm also going to need some hoppers. And what we're going to do is actually need to feed things in the back. So I'm going to pull this forward by a block. Then we'll get some belts in there and there with a funnel there to take everything in. We're also going to need to feed iron sheets into it, but we can just put those in there and they should just feed directly into the machine. Yep, wonderful. So here we're going to need a deployer with a hopper and a barrel. Let's rotate that around. And this barrel is going to be for sandpaper. So we'll stick another barrel here, the funnel on the back. So we'll put the raw rose quartz in here. That'll get sanded by this one, turned into rose quartz, which will then make our electron tubes by mixing with the metal plates. So that should do the trick. Let's just get some power in. So they're going the right way. Wonderful. I'll make sure nothing flies off the end. Then we just need to get power to the crafters. And that'll be easy enough thanks to all our floor power we've got. Right. And there we go. That's the finished machine, although we do need to move this lamp. And let's use a couple of the bridge ones instead. Better. But now if we load up rose quartz in here, that should get turned into our wonderful Electron tubes. Good stuff. And that is the last thing on our list. Well, when it comes to machines anyway. But what I do still want to do is put all of the workshop tables in here. By workshop tables, I mean these ones from Chipped. So the botanist workbench, the glass blower, carpenter's table, loom, mason table, alchemy bench, and a tinkering table. So I'm going to quickly get these crafted up. And then alongside a crafting table and a stone cutter and maybe a couple of other bits, we should have a nice little workshop here. Okay, I think I've got all of the tables. Let's just figure out where we're going to put them. So maybe something like that. Then we can have a crafting table and a stone cutter. And then we're going to use a few copycat panels and andesite bars just to create a little barrier here. Yeah, that works well. I like that. And with that, I think our workshop is complete. That was an epic build, that one. But we've got all the machines we're going to need to be able to automate things a little bit quicker when we're crafting. And we've even got a little bit of space up the top here should we need to cram in any very small machines. I mean, just things like an independent deployer or slicer, that could be quite handy maybe. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And I have actually done some editing for this episode, and that ghast is such a pain. Where is he? There you are, you cheeky little ghast. Ruining my time lapses at the start there. But despite that, I do like him. I'm going to keep him, and he does need a name. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll get him named next episode. If you want to get hold of this workshop for yourself, then it will be available in a schematic form in my Discord to all Patreon members, YouTube members, and Twitch subscribers. And in fact, I do need to get the rest of these buildings on there as well. But sadly, that's all we've got time for. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.